Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for joining me for another question and answer time on my YouTube channel. If you're new, I always say welcome to our little soiree, our get-together of like-minded souls. You've come to the right place. This is a space where people ask questions and I answer them just from my perspective as a psychic and a shaman. And more so just a connected individual who's been kind of in this realm of trying to integrate the spiritual and metaphysical aspects of life into our regular waking experiences. If you are interested in this and kind of digging like into the vibe of what I'm sharing, then please feel free to visit my website, which is themodernshaman.net. I have a lot of great info and ways to get connected with me on there, whether it's a personal one-on-one session on the phone, Skype, or in person here in Texas, or if it is for a class for the 2-hour shorter Friday night kind of active lecture series where we teach and talk, and then I also give some practical time to get the practice in and help you practice the things that we learn about, as well as the intensive weekend workshop series that's coming up in the fall. We're gearing up for that. I've separated it into a 4-month program, and that is the real meal deal. If you are serious about your spiritual development and really wanting to integrate this stuff and make it a personal practice for you, those workshops, the psychic development and multidimensional awareness intensive weekends are so life transforming and powerful. There's a lot of testimonials on the website, but I would love for you to be a part of that if you genuinely feel led towards the program that's coming up in the fall. Okay, there's all my spiel in terms of business. Now we'll get down to the question. Okay, so this was sent in, I think last year at some point. I have a queue of all these questions that you guys send in. And this one was sent in last year. It says, "Hi, Miss Rachel. Hello. I have a question. Lately, I've been trying to get myself into the process of letting go of fear. Fear of myself as a spiritual being, fear of all the things that I am capable of and not capable of, such as I fear that I'm no longer completing the plan that I designated for my life prior to incarnating. I don't know how to release this fear. I see it as hindering my growth process, but I can't grasp how to let it go. Can you provide guidance for me? Thank you. Love and light always." Okay, so releasing fear kind of is our overall topic for this video, but also kind of getting into the details of contracts, life contracts, relational, any sort of contracts prior to incarnating in this life purpose, and the weight of that responsibility or letting go of any fear associated with such. Okay. All right. Okay, let's do it. So the first thing that comes up for me in alignment with your question is this topic of contracts. So let's talk about that first. Soul contracts or life purpose or a sense of program or alignment of karma that you needed to come and clear, or lessons that you needed to deal with. Kind of purpose before, and you specified like some sort of agreement that you made prior to incarnating in this life, or why you incarnated in this life. So first, let me say, and not that this will release your fear, but I'm just going to address it. Those are made, remember, from the other side of this earth, right? Outside of linear time. Those are in a non-time space. So they're not held, even though you say prior to incarnation, it's not like there's a timeline to when that was made. It's actually being made in the now. You still have accessible, changeable, movable, interactable energy from the other side with any timeline. So at any point, you can connect with that aspect of the self that was present, making those sense of agreements, making that contract, or that was active in that agreement, and shift it, because it's outside of time. It didn't really happen prior to this life. That's just our human perspective, because we have to process. We live in linearity. We live in with time as one of our dimensional aspects. But outside of that, there is ever access to shifting of those timelines, to shifting of those agreements, to moving in ebb and flow, moving in and out, and readdressing that at any moment in the now. So I just want to kind of shatter that idea that these things are set in stone. They're not really, because it's outside of linearity. You're outside of time with that. So it's accessible to you now as if you're just making that decision now. It's always in the now, right? I know that's a mind trip, but just know that it's accessible to change at any point that you desire a sense of change. And you hit the nail on the head when you said, I made this agreement. It's your free will of alignment, your free will of contract. Or contract sounds so binding, and it sounds like somebody's like a sense of discipline to it, or you better do this, or, you know, it's not like that. It's more like law of attraction. It's more like a desire, right? These contracts are made more from a karmic energy, and karmic energy has an ebb and flow. It's a balancing aspect. Sure, there may be a lot of energy on this side that made you want to come in and balance it here. But you still have a sense of choice. You still have free will. You are the active participant in that sense of contract, or that decision that was made. Remember that. It's not coming from an outside source. It's not coming from some legal document that you got to sign before you get a human body that says you got to do A, B, and C, D, or you're screwed. It's not like we think of it in this human body in terms of linearity or contracts or binding things, or even a sense of discipline. It's a very kind of 3D human way of perceiving things through our cognition and cause and effect, right? On the other side, outside of that form of cause and effect of linearity, it's much more fluid. It's much more magnetic, and you always have the strongest point, which is your sense of I, your alignment, or your desire, your choice, your free will in the matter. Don't forget that. You show up as the participant. So really, there's no fear there. You can't get it wrong. First of all, it's always ebbing and flowing and changing, right? You are the active participant here. You are the active choice maker, the free will alignment. This is based on your energy. It's not based on an external. So all of this, if you decide, hey, just like you're driving on the freeway and you're like, you know what, I think I'll take this road today. You're the active participant here that gets to choose what path that you take. Now from here, we look at it like I made that choice and then I went in this direction because there's linearity to it. But if it's outside of linearity, it's just a choice being made in the moment, and there's no sense of judgment for that experience. It's all experience. All right, they're just varying levels, varying forms, varying expressions of experience of source, right? So just kind of take away or try to loosen the idea that you can get it wrong. I tell my clients this all the time when they ask about life purpose or path. It comes up a lot from spirit where they're saying from higher guidance to a particular client. But I hear it often enough from spirit that it's like, all right, that's a biggie. That's a biggie for humankind. To realize that you are the path. You are your purpose. The purpose is your life being here. You being here, right? It's not a decision that you have to make. It's not, I don't know where this came from. I don't know but this question of like, am I in God's will? Am I living out God's will for my life? as if it's a particular career that creates alignment with God. This is your state of being, right? This is your soul. It has nothing to do with an actionable thing, with a sense of a career or a sense of choosing A over B or this partner over that relationship. Those are very linear 3D human experiences. The sense of alignment, the sense of your soul, your essence in connection is a state of being. And you can have your state of being, your being on this planet. You are the path. You can have that no matter what course of action you choose to take, because it's just you being you, right? You being in your alignment with yourself, with your highest vibrational self. Even when you're not, even when you're a baby, you're still you. You lose your essence of soul. So you're still maintaining your path. You're still maintaining your purpose for being here just by being here. And I know that sounds maybe trite or simple, but it's the truth. You can't get off of being you, as if, you know what I mean? You can't get off the path. Sure, we can act, play roles, but there's still a sense of you and actionable flowing source energy through you to play those roles. It's still teaching and expressing and learning. So there's a sense of relevance there. So take that pressure off, right? You can't get it wrong. You being you has a sense of alignment with your you-ness, with your soul, with what came into this body to begin with, right? It's just a sense of being. It's not an action. It's not a decision. It's not a career. It's not a location that you live. It's just you being you. You could literally be breathing and just sitting, doing nothing, and still fulfill a sense of purpose, because you are that purpose. All right. Now let's move on to that second part of your question, okay? Which is this idea of letting go of fear, okay? I'm kind of separating those two, the idea of contract before you came to this earth, to just the practice of letting go of fears. And I think a lot of people can relate to this, right? Whether this is their particular fear or some other fear that they have as a trigger. But we all have to learn within this human body, what do we do when we're triggered by fears or things that affect us in a frightening way. Okay, so first thing I want to say about fear is that it is often created or magnified from a sense of separation, from an energy that feels separate or alone or away from oneness, okay? When we as humans feel fear, and I realize there are variations within the emotional range here, right? Of like paranoia, which is more in a mental energy, versus fight or flight primal fear, which is for your life, which is more felt down in the sacred. I realize there are varying levels of where this energy is stored and how it manifests emotionally. But let's just take the overall blanket term, right? And this blanket energy of fear is felt primarily when we have a sense of separation of the self. We have to, say you're afraid at night. You are separating yourself out and saying, I'm here, I'm vulnerable, I'm alone, I'm, separate from whatever it is that feels comfortable, that feels safe, that feels at peace. All right, and so there is an energetic separation that takes place and has to be there before the energy of fear or the mental mind of fear can show itself. So oftentimes when I work with clients about releasing fear or letting go, it's not so much getting rid of something, pushing it away, because again, that's an energy of separation, right? You go over there in the corner, fear. You put the dunce hat on, fear, you go over there. Or you push out and away, out and away, out and away. Again, this is a separation energy. Rather, if it's absorbed in more of a love energy, one that feels one one that feels unified, one that feels inclusive, then that sense of separation, it doesn't create the vibrational energy that even allows the fear in, because you don't feel singled out. You feel a part, and that a part of, or that unity consciousness feels safe. It feels like groups. It feels like comfort in numbers. It feels like a blanket or something covering you. So there's a oneness energy that can be amplified stronger and stronger. So I would encourage, anytime if you know you have a tendency towards fear, not to focus so much on getting rid of the fear, because sometimes that tunes us into fear, like I don't want this to happen, I don't want this to happen, I don't want this to happen. And so they're focused so much on what they don't want to happen, they're amplifying that energy. So rather than doing that, turn your attention to the amplification of unity, of love, of feeling a part of feeling that sense of source energy, which is unified. This energy and activation of this energy would be meditations or places that feel very comforting to you, that feel like home, that feel safe. This is also a sense of unity, right? You're not alone. You're not alone. I'm not alone. I'm never alone. I'm always here. Even if I'm fearful, I'm not alone. I have the aspect, or I have the accessibility to the angelic realm, where they're all there, my ancestral community on the other side that's supporting me in love. I have friends, I have source, I have God, literally, energy flowing through me, having such a sense of warmth and security and safety, that is what's amplified. So I would really encourage you to amplify, to do things that amplify that energy within you, that feel like unity, oneness, source, love, all of those active energies that do not separate, that do not diversify or divide out. That is the kind of opposite energy, where love has such a foundation of absorption, of just like, come on in here, baby, I'll just keep you safe, I'll keep you warm. Mother Earth energy is like this, right? It's unified. It's like a big hug. I keep feeling like this. I just want to hug you. When I feel that, there's no room for fear. And even if the fear is there in a mental capacity or a cognitive, like, this talk, whatever it may be, it's very soothing, to where there's a natural release of the anxiety energy, or that frazzled, kind of chaotic feeling of the particles on the molecular level that are active when you're in a state of fear. It's very soothing. So it has a natural release and almost just let go, without having to focus on the fear, focus on the letting go. Instead, you're activating so much of that warmth and that love and that absorption of being hugged, of not being alone, of being secure. All of this, that this is what you feel. And so you naturally, literally, like when people hug for an extended period of time, or when they're in a warm blanket, like how kids a lot of times have their Snuggie blanket, something that is a warm, an energy of comfort and security to them, you'll notice their shoulders relax, their speech tends to calm, the anxiety starts to loosen, and on a literal level, like molecular level, those particles, instead of being like this in that state of anxiety or chaotic movement, they flow more smoothly. They have more of a dance and a grace that naturally lets go without activating the energy that you're in fear of. Okay, so instead, amplify that energy of unity, oneness, security, love. Okay, things that feel like that to you, bring them in more and more often, to where that's the dominant energy, and that fear doesn't, especially if you know you're triggered in certain environments or by certain thoughts. Always have those things that bring up a sense of unity in ready and accessible reach for you, whether it be mental thoughts that feel like that for you. Like if the fear comes in mentally, then have your go-to mental thoughts that are of love, whether it be a favorite person or a favorite memory or a favorite childhood place, or if it comes in physically, tangibly, meaning you almost feel paralyzed or you feel like you can't breathe, if it's a physical manifestation of fear, then have physical environments that feel like they soothe you. Like I said, with children, there's a lot of like animals, teddy bears, stuffed animals, smooth things, soft things, whether it's a blanket, being in your comforter, your favorite pillow, your favorite sweatshirt with a hoodie that feels like you're secure and safe inside. These things that are a tangible, reachable energy for you if it comes in physically. If it's an emotional, then you can have an emotional energy that you know is very accessible to you, that feels like love. So think of a particular emotional time when you felt the most love, the most accepted, the most secure that you've ever felt. And even if it's not real, maybe it was from a moment in a movie, or maybe it was from somebody else that you saw that was getting married and you're like, oh, I feel so good, that looks so wonderful, but you were able to accessibly reach it on an emotional level. That's still accessible to you emotionally, right? And so have those things ready and handy for a balance of how you experience fear. Have that vibrational relevance of love and unity and connection and family and comfort accessible on those same mirrored levels for yourself. You'll find that it naturally lets go and releases. And if you don't contract against it, you just let it go. You have a sense of like, this feels so much better. I love this love. I love this feeling of comfort. I love this feeling of ease and oneness and source energy that feels so absorbent and naturally all-encompassing. I have no sense of separation or fear from something outside of myself. It's just your state of being. When you emanate from there, the fear won't exist. It just falls. Love you guys. Blessings, blessings. Also just want to say before I sign out kind of on the video that if you're going through stuff, this is good. This is not a sense that you're doing anything wrong. We're all learning and growing as eternal beings. So this is always a good thing that you're conscious of your evolution, that you're processing these things for yourself and you're wanting to handle your fears. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? It's part of our human experience. It's part of our human, like the desire and the personal expression as a human to go through these things. So in a way, you're blessed and blessed on this expressional journey. I don't even know if that's a word, expressional, but that's what came out. Bye, you guys. Stay tuned. We'll be back here next Friday for another video. Blessings.